hear me?
Educational materials.
Ah. A few of these guys don't know about the birds and the bees and the bits.
That's it. The mistake Dave made
There we are.
because he wasn't aware of something will not be a mistake everyone else makes because they are also not aware.
Yeah.
Of it. Like you should do to the lead programmer.
Letting you know this mic is live.
Yep.
Okay.
That's fun for him, so. Hey.
I know.
Okay. Yeah, don't say any other things.
So I can say anything he wants.
There'll just be repercussions if he says something.
Just know that I'm saying it to everybody.
Yeah.
I think everyone should understand hash functions personally.
Yeah.
Everybody should enjoy
It's a
hash.
life skill.
Everybody should know and enjoy hash.
Can you wipe your
functions.
ass? Can you wipe your ass? Can you use a hash function?
This is, yeah, how you get through life without these things.
You already got people
Yeah.
in there?
Everybody should.
Okay, yeah. I unmuted myself on the stream so I could hear myself. Yeah, we're hot mic. So, real quick recap for those of you that watched the stream last night. Yeah, isn't this grass hot? It's amazing. Tyler and Ben made
Did
it.
someone say the grass was hot?
Yeah. Well, he said the grass. I don't know if that was
No.
a good or a bad. It looks like a thumbs up.
I've got
It might be a middle finger.
So one of the things I don't like is when you shift the camera, everything is the same specular. So one of the things I'm going to do is shift some of the specular around to try and fake that a little bit better, so it's not all a uniform mirror at the
Make
right
this
angle.
big real quick and make sure we've got the quality we want. So part of the reason we're doing this stream is last night we had some minor technical issues in terms of, and my headphones are beeping at me, video quality and not being able to hear Tyler. So we're going to re-record, hopefully with higher video quality and being able to hear Tyler because he's got a pretty mouth.
Well, that looks better than what I was seeing on Corey's screen last night.
It's still a little bit blurry, but
Do you want to futz with it before we get going?
I don't know.
If it's going to take 2 minutes, we can drop the stream and the turning the
Oh,
camera.
I did the wrong button. Everything's going to blow up. I did the wrong button, you guys. I wanted to unfull screen this one. Let me dick with my settings real quick. So anyways, I'm going to tweak with the settings, and then we're going to get this as pretty as I can, and we're going to redo the segments last night from talking about the new biome and talking about
Big bot battle.
the big bot battles. And then after this segment, we're going to have JB doing some play session with the backers and stuff.
Random chaos.
Yeah, just, you know, all the fun stuff. So if you guys are seeing this on YouTube, you didn't miss anything last night. We're doing it again because we really like you guys. For you, the consumer.
I don't think we put anything on YouTube yet. I think it was all just
Well,
sitting
this
on
is going to
Twitch.
go on YouTube.
This is going to go on YouTube.
So people are going to watch this on YouTube. That's why I'm saying hi to them. Hey, YouTube.
Tim and I get along and communicate well. This will be interesting.
I make the words.
You're supposed to be making code. No wonder we're so far.
I will cut you.
You just stop myself.
Turn this bit rate up a little bit. I don't know that it's going to help, but bigger numbers means it's better, right?
This is what happens when you put people who are comfortable on stage in front of a live mic. They put foot in mouth.
Yeah, sure, that all looks good.
Did you stop the stream?
No, we're just changing this stuff on the fly.
Okay.
we're live streaming Tim setting up OBS.
Hooray!
Come wall. It's probably in our recorded videos. We talked about it last night, so if you just want to go through our old videos, you should be able to find it. All right, so that was really loud. I'm sorry if your brain exploded.
Real quick thing, the first thing I said last night, which I'm going to say again, is that right now the snow affects the terrain, doesn't affect, grass and rocks and trees and stuff. This is just something we put in kind of real quick for festivities.
Stream is blurry. Why is the stream? Oh,
Yeah, his is blurry.
I'm running on low quality.
I would say mine's probably
Oh,
blurry
oh,
because I've got it on
could you do
medium
that
quality,
for-
so that like 12 of us in the office aren't all streaming the
Can you
stream
stick
at
it
high
on high
quality.
just so I can see what happens.
It's worse now. I turned the bit rate up. What are you doing, OBS? Stop.
Oh, it's better than a moment ago.
Oh, I did turn it down.
You did?
300 is less than 2,000. Who knew? It's okay, guys. I'm just writing the code for this game.
Yeah. Yeah, Corey's over here upsetting me because apparently his default is to watch the stream on low quality.
Numbers are
I
hard,
put so
guys.
much work into these textures. Corey. But I guess you're
I'm
playing, so you
sorry.
get to enjoy it.
Yes, I'm sorry that I've got a bunch of other things going on, and I'm also trying to make it easier for the rest of the office to use internet.
Yay,
This-
internet!
th-
All right, everybody
whatever.
says it's better. Okay.
Whatever.
Higher bit
Andrew,
rate.
do you want to come make a facial? Yeah, he's getting a hat.
Darv's got my back like a bro. All right, so
Andrew's. So one of the things those of you who were watching us last night did not get to see was Andrew's pretty mug. So
Yeah.
those of you who are on today,
Oh, you want my mug?
he's got an awesome mug too. I don't have any beverage in my mug.
you want me to get you something?
No. Yes.
I have my horn. Where's my horn?
Here, I will take my drink. Oh, that'll make a giant mess. We're not going to do that. Okay, so Andrew,
This is already
right.
decorated.
Andrew's
We
getting
haven't
the mug.
started
So
right.
yeah, so we'll start this while Andrew finds his mug, so he can put his mug on.
And
with
to
his
preface
mug.
this,
Yo,
one
dog.
of the things for anybody who didn't see us streaming yesterday, I actually started out the stream before we actually got into the game by saying we built a new biome. This was kind of like a big neutral biome of a pine forest with the idea that we take this the next step and do realm ownership of that biome.
And it's 20 seconds behind us, so
Yeah. So what we'll be doing at that point is doing. We'll be running around in this new thing. I might talk about a couple of different things that we did here, performance-wise, to make this run with a bunch of people in it. And there's Andrew. Do you want to say hi or anything?
There's nothing I enjoy more than a holiday beverage from my Maryland Renaissance Festival mug. Maryland Renaissance Festival, in no way a sponsor who is paid for product pitches.
We- for you, the consumer. All right. Do you want to pull up a chair? You can join us.
Is there room?
Do you, well, why
We'll
don't I-
make room,
why
or
don't
you can take over if you want. I
can
don't know why I have
can-
headphones
why-
on.
Andrew,
Hold on.
so why don't we run around a little bit? I'll talk about the pine tree stuff. Oh,
He's
God.
pulling a couch over.
Dig a hole, people.
That's what. Oh, never.
Let's see how you. Corey, you got enough room over there.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're beautiful. Ship it.
So anyway,
No
I'll.
one can even see me. It's great.
You're well.
Yeah.
Do you want me to
I'm so
drag a
bad at that.
light over?
So one of the things you'll notice, we've also got the frame rate running up in the corner. Tim, what's the card you're running?
I'm gonna scar Tim. I'm gonna ruin Tim's world.
It burns us our precious. Oh, it's rainy out. We're fine. Yeah. So right, real quick, we're
We're not running like a quad SLI. We're not running any SLI. We are not running on a really high-end card. The card you've got on here is a
970.
so actually a relatively good card. One of the things that's going on right now with the lower frame rate, we need to fix all the trees. I built these really cheap trees that look really nice. The only problem is that we're rendering a whole crap load of them. We've barely begun on optimizing anything for performance, so we're actually drawing a very large scene here. That's why we're at 35 frames. So
Yeah.
I've run this on my on a 680 at home as I was building this thing, and it runs really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's one of my upcoming projects is special forest code of, basically understand when there's a forest and don't draw
Tyler's
don't draw the
quiet.
trees that are 10 trees back from where you are. So
yeah, and so one of our objectives, is we've got this FPS display up just because we want you guys to see how this is running on a decent computer. It's not a great computer. I think I've got one of the older computers in the office that's a year and a half old. I've got a decent graphics card in there, but it's nothing insane. And I just have my character turned off because why is
I
even
know.
there?
I know.
And we'll see it later, and we'll talk about it again. We haven't done very many. Mark says no optimizations. We haven't spent a lot of time optimizing the terrain for rendering performance and stuff like that. Just good enough so that we could get the bots for the test-ins. So you'll see that as we go around. But we've got a bunch of bots on there, and we'll talk about the bots once we get to the bot swarm. So let's talk about the biome here first, and we'll go.
This is
from
about
there.
the point JB yells at us and says, "You aren't actually doing anything."
No, that was like 30 minutes in before. So what we've got here is
Your frame rate really started going up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I touched it.
Maybe, so one of the things that might be happening.
I'd had focus over here, and so it had been like a half background window.
Oh, I was also thinking maybe he was also.
Oh, the round ended.
He might have been looking at all the mods off in the distance.
So let me get back to my spot real quick.
Okay, so basically, where we're going to play with the bots is going to be like all the old kind of placeholder art that I did like a year ago. I'm actually fairly proud that I learned a lot just thinking about this and then suddenly creating a new biome. This one just looks way better. Ben's learned more about the tools. Andrew's given us some more tools to actually make the terrain. We've made this super dense. We're going to have to figure out kind of how to balance gameplay with the quantity of trees. But right now we're basically shoving a lot of stuff in there to stress that. Everything we do is trying to stress things so that when we have to bring it down to average scale that people are going to be playing at, that it'll run really well. So you can see here, he's actually rendering all of these trees. There's, this one way off in the distance, that one way off in the distance, he's just a card. All the guys that are in front are all no LODs, they're all at their highest resolution. Like I said, it is one of the issues we need to fix that's bringing down the frame rate, but
all the shadows are dynamic. You can see I'll mess with the time of day here in a bit, and you can see where the light comes through the trees changes, where the shadows are cast changes. It's all it's a big part of our sort of procedural terrain generation. That's not it's not 100%. We don't tell the computer, hey, go make a forest for us. We give it some inputs, and then it does a lot of the heavy. Yeah,
there's a lot of inputs.
And then it builds it on the fly, and also we'll show you here in a bit. I can fly around, and you'll see. You'll see it generate it under us if we're going really, really fast. So it's all created at runtime.
You might as well do that little thing at some point because
let's
people liked seeing that. So what we're going to do is he's going to run really fast, much faster than a player would run, and you can see terrain load. You'll see it clip in as it goes.
Yeah, and so some of that will feed into stuff how later Andrew will be working on making it so that we've already actually done some of this. It needs to get better though.
You just saw the season change and it filled up with snow.
yeah, there's snow under us now. That's all dynamic, and it's fed in by what time it is, how far north we are, how far up we are.
Yeah, if you watch, you're gonna see it.
I don't think you have it actually triggered in with the snow effect, do you?
Slowly.
No, not yet.
No,
it's not hooked into the weather system yet.
You can see the snow, kind of the season changing, and the snow rolling in from the north.
Because, as Andrew said last night, that's where snow comes from.
Yeah, and also black metal and everything that is awesome.
Apparently that
and
too.
you can see me and Tyler keep pointing at the screen like, don't you guys see where we're pointing? There's where these lines of grass are is where it's procedurally generating the terrain under us. And what it does is it sort of does it at a coarse level and then gets more detailed the closer you get to it.
Yeah, we're actually down here. It's
and it's set up so that it builds that out as you go. It's just we're going way faster than than normal players go, and we still, again, have lots of room for improvement in terms of optimization for this. Just tap F10 twice.
Okay.
While you're not in.
Yeah, damn it. There we are. Run, little Luger band, run!
And so again, this all also can feed into later. The terrain will adapt based on which faction, which realm controls that region.
Yeah, I didn't actually finish that. We did some testing a long time ago where we had the terrain actually will swap. Right now, the pine biome, like this was kind of like a test area, this grassy area. The pine biome is very much a neutral biome, and the idea is that the next step is to turn it into a TDD, an Arthurian, and a Viking version of a pine forest. So that'll be a good test of tech and be fun art. It'll also help us figure out how much stuff we can shove in there at the same time.
In terms of, since we're talking about the forest as our biome of interest, some stuff to think about. it's not just about making an awesome looking forest, which is a laudable goal. We've got a really awesome looking forest. Ben and Tyler have done a great job with that. But there is gameplay impact of that. Our projectiles and spells and walls and players all collide with these trees. I think all of these trees have collision, right?
Yeah.
So every single one of these
That's
trees
actually a good point.
has
These
collision. Somebody shoots an arrow at you, you can duck behind a tree and it'll stop. The projectile hits the tree. And so, picking a fight in and around or placing your home in and around a forest has some very significant gameplay ramifications. So that clearing we were at before, you could plop a house down there and have a pretty defensible spot because you're surrounded by trees, and so it becomes difficult for people to bring siege engines and attack your home or your keep or your guild's house or whatever.
There you go.
So this all has, it's not just about looking pretty, which again is awesome. It looks great, but and you can see the shadows there moved when we changed the time of day. There is significant gameplay impact to the way these forests are laid out, and having the high ground or being up near where rocks are that are difficult to climb.
Do like daytime 3, because at night it's a creepy looking forest. The snow makes it look interesting, but like part of what we're
Is that a sunrise?
we're trying to make sure that our nighttime actually more feels like night. And then if you turn on your torch, which is kind of bright right now.
The torch is a little bit flaky right now.
Torch work?
The T button doesn't work, but the equipment does.
Yeah.
So I can just equip my torch.
So one of the things you'll have to decide, and we saw this in early testing, is that you turn your torch on, you can totally see where you're going at night, but everybody can see you as a little beacon to aim at off in the distance.
Yeah.
And we have a very far draw distance. You'll see that when we're running around with all the bots. And we actually, a lot of our abilities, you can build them so that you can actually fire something really far.
Yeah, and you'll probably see a little bit more of that during JB's gameplay session. Like, if you're unfamiliar with our game,
I think you're kind of cut off in the picture there.
that's fine. If you're unfamiliar with the game, we have the ability to craft your own skills, and you can control what kind of sacrifices you're willing to make for range or power or efficiency or what have you. Why does it look like there's no depth? I don't know.
No
because
depth.
It looks like there is a crap ton of depth.
The trees are all dark. That's why.
Just because we're at nighttime.
Yeah, I mean,
Also,
you're only able to see so
I've
far.
got a full season packed into 10 minutes here, so now it's springtime.
he means it
snow's
snows
gone.
over a 10-minute period, then more snow comes, it'll come back in a little bit later.
Yeah, we've got hiding in tall grass, and that's a thing, especially if you're a little teeny tiny Lutrapan like I am.
We've actually got some other cooler stuff to make hiding work better than other games out there.
So
that we
in
haven't really
terms of
discussed.
in terms of the biomes, there's also a lot of that stuff is reusable. So we can sort of create a template for a forest and plop that down somewhere, and then add a couple more inputs to create a different forest. And so not every forest, in fact, most forests will not be identical to each other. You're not going to just go in and be like, oh, this is the forest that's everywhere. It's going to be unique based on our inputs and the terrain and the faction that controls it.
There's a
It'll just fly.
I was gonna say there's one of the things Ben did yesterday. I gave him a kind of lumpy, just long, go up towards where the rocks are.
Also, you can see the snow at the top of the mountain, which is cool.
So
Excuse
come
me, I was
down.
informed that's not a mountain at the top.
That's
of
a
the
hill. Yeah, just go down to the bottom so that you're actually getting to where the rocks start getting during all this stuff. So one of the things that happened, why don't you daytime at 12, so we can see all that. So one of the things that happened yesterday is 2 days ago, I was really trying real quick to get this in, and I gave Ben a roughly flat pine forest, and then he was like, mountains everywhere, and I was like, I haven't even thought about rocks. So we real quickly, I made some rock textures, we put them in, Ben set them up, and in an hour, 2 hours, we had all of this working really well, where you could run around on all these rocks. It looked real. It worked. We have little pebbles down low. The minute it starts sloping up, you get an actual solid rock texture. One of the things we'll try and use that for is to indicate players how high they can go, or I'm sorry, what slope they can walk up,
Yeah,
so that you're not fighting the terrain all the time.
Yeah, it's we've got it pretty slidey right now, so that you get a slightly steep cliff and you'll just slide down like you're on a friggin' toboggan.
Yeah, so for the amount of work that slackers like Tyler haven't actually done, I think we've got a pretty good world.
Yeah, this was about 2.5 weeks of work with
For the whole, basically the whole zone.
mostly myself and some help with 2 other artists on a couple helping make variations of assets.
I don't, you're only a slacker compared to like, an art team of like, 50 like
Oh, I know.
Bethesda has. So, at Bethesda, there's this woman. She's a really cool
You
woman.
talked
Her name's Meg. She places every single one of these little plants individually, and that's, we'll never quite get to like that level of detail, but I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, the cool thing is with a little bit more control, like some of the placement of like these weeds and things, it's all just random and procedural. If we spend a little bit more time, we can kind of say like, okay, I want all the weeds to grow here specifically. Right now, they're just all over the place. And I put in one bush, and we'll start making some variations of bushes and things like that. But part of this is to kind of test out the theory of like how many things do we need, so that I can kind of figure out the schedule of how many environments we can make in a certain amount of time.
Do you remember, is this a 2-kilometer map?
This is 4.
This
This
goes
one's
goes
smaller.
from +2 to -2.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So the zone we're in right now is 4 kilometers across. And we consider
is
this
small.
a small zone. we've got a 16 or 32 kilometer zone that we've done some stuff in other tests with, and it works great, and we're going to be going bigger than that eventually.
And ultimately, because everything's scalable, that gives us a lot of flexibility after launch to, say, okay, this server has a lot of people, let's just expand it out and make more room for housing, or, vice versa. Like, we feel like battles would be better if, we had people concentrated into a smaller area, so we can kind of just squeeze the map if we want.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, I guess if like your server population is small or large, we can change the terrain.
Yeah, that's one of the kind of main things that I've always been focused on is what's our iteration time? Like, how quickly can we make large changes to the game?
And
because that's honestly like the 6 weeks after an MMO is launched is really when
you need to
is
make
make
a lot
or break
of
time
changes.
for it.
So we actually
And other MMOs, if you need to move a rock, it's like a 2 to 4 week vetting process to get that rock moved.
Yeah, we're out here. We'll move.
And
on.
I was just gonna roll into, some of you may not have seen this, like we haven't done it
Push
a
it
lot
live.
recently, but I mean I could go in here and shift a tree and hit save and wait a few seconds and it will pop in.
In both the server and your client, and there's a little bit of hand waving that needs to happen there so that you don't fall through while the server has done the update or the client hasn't, and that's probably something you'll never actually see on a live server. But we have the capacity for Tyler to go into the editor and change the server's terrain live, basically.
And one of my
Hey, look, it's winter again.
one of my famous stories was when we were early testing in a very old map and I couldn't get through a choke point. I was like, I'm going to put a rock here to hide behind it.
So the other part of this segment is we want to go show them the giant bot battles. So
How many bots? So if
we've
you guys,
got
It's
five.
okay.
I'm pointing
not
at
on
the screen
camera,
again.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
if you look at the screen up at the top, you can see the number of players on each realm. So it's 188, 182, and 188, and they all spawn in the center of this map. It's not like they're sitting all over on a huge area just off in Timbuktu. These guys are actually all in. You could consider a battleground. I mean, if we built a battleground, you'll see it. Everybody all in the same place.
Dradinmo, yes, we could.
Yes, we could what?
He said if a player encountered a world hole, a CSE dev could fix that on the fly.
Yep.
Now, it's unlikely that is actually something we would do on a live server, like right that second, but, a day or two we could get a hotfix in much quicker than pretty much any other studio out there.
Now we're coming in. Look at that draw distance on those tiny little players. They're ants. Those
They
tiny
are.
little ants.
So Andrew's running real quick, and that's why we wanted to show you guys things popping in.
Hello, little ants.
So talking about our bots, so a quick primer on our bots in case you've seen other sort of load testing, stress testing bots on other MMOs. Our bots, for all the server and your client cares about, are 100% players.
And jerks, apparently.
Right. They run the client just like other players do. The only thing is they don't have to render it because they can see into the scene without needing all the graphics bits. It's a headless client. But for the purposes,
we've got a bank of machines on Amazon Web Services that are running the client minus graphics,
Right.
pretty much. So
That's
the
exactly
server
what they
does
do.
not know these aren't players.
Yeah, and so every single one of these, we call them bots that you see, is basically another player. They follow the same rules that a player follows. They cost the same amount to the server and to your client to render. In fact, sometimes they cost more because they can send commands faster than players can. That doesn't mean that they can cheat necessarily. It just means that they produce extra load on the server that most players don't. Also, most players do like we do, where you walk someplace and you look around and sort of gather the situation and make a decision, and the bots are just always moving and always attacking, and so they tend to cause more strain on our server, which is what their job is.
And last night someone asked a really good question, like, doing abilities and stuff. We've done these tests with 1,000 bots, all just spamming really heavy VFX.
Yeah,
And still
you
not
can see
having
them out there
problems.
every now and then. They'll cast.
These guys are mostly melee.
No, that was last night. Last night they had to deal with the crappy melee bots. Today we've got mage bots.
Yeah, you'll be able to see all the effects going a lot brighter here in the dark.
And we aren't actually we're only showing you a few of them. We're going to suck everybody to the center and spawn them, and you'll see a whole lot of guys. We're going to kind of mess with things.
Do a suicide real quick.
These guys have had time to spread out all over the map.
Was it suicide?
Yeah. And then respawn at your home base. And then turn on God mode like 50. And head east. There we go.
There they are.
So there's, you can see up in the top left the number of players on the server. There's roughly...
I'm just going to hang back here
Yeah.
and...
There's roughly 500 bots, which, again, are basically players. So there's 500 players over there fighting in a 200, 300 meter area. And server is running collision on every single one of their players, every single one of those trees, every single one of their projectiles. They're interacting. If a fireball hits a water ball, it'll produce steam.
And that gets to the heart of why we are doing our own engine. Like this shot right here, it's not, how pretty does it look when you come up on a lot on one particular rock. It's, can we do this? Because that's gameplay, and that's what matters.
Yeah, the reality is, as much TLC as I put into the trees, you're not going to care when guys are shooting at you. You're going to be running through these forests, dodging guys. This is what's going to matter.
And what's our FPS right now? 30, watching a scene of 600 guys in a
That's
fight.
mostly the trees, honestly.
Yeah, it is. And those are going to get better, but,
Yeah, that's actually, that's mostly trees are taking up a large portion of that.
But, we've got... And remember, we mentioned it earlier, and we keep harping on it, but it's true in that we haven't spent a lot of time optimizing this. And we've got 600 guys in a small area in an intense battle rendering at 30 FPS. So,
We'll get it back to 60.
Yeah, we'll get it back. And our server, Mark Hernandez did some testing on our server last week, I believe, where we had the server up to about 3,000. And it wasn't great, but it was definitely playable. And at between 2,500 and 2,700, it was great. And so part of this is getting the client FPS back up so that the players can enjoy that insanity.
Are these guys botting their animation down there? Is that what you're saying?
No, Dave.
No, we turned
Dave
that
broke it.
off.
Oh,
They
Dave
used to
broke it. Okay.
be. They used to be. So
Again, that's one of the optimizations.
Dave broke level of detail fairly recently.
So we're playing with broken level of detail.
Yeah, these are actually 10,000
Just
characters.
stepping
so.
one step back when we start saying level of detail or LOD or lotting. That's basically anything up close has more detail, more polygons, more vertices, more textures, space than it does in the distance. So we're actually, in the case that when we say we're not optimizing things, we've broken something recently.
But
so we're still getting a great frame rate.
one of the things people like to throw at us every time we do these big bot battles is historically it's been like 3 characters that we've done this with.
It looks like it's 3 characters.
And so everybody's like, oh, you're cheating. You've only got 3 characters. So what we did for this test is every single one of these characters is wearing a slightly different configuration of gear that's been run through our dye tinting system. So every
And
single
they keep
character
switching.
has a different. I think we actually tried to keep switching on.
Okay.
But every single character has
Last night it was on.
different textures and different colors based on their gear. They have different geometry. This isn't just one character that's been cloned 500 times.
Let's go down and take a
You can see the
take a close
one of the
look.
things you can do with abilities is work on tracking. So you can actually make your projectiles track. So if you watch as these bots kind of
sort of whip
randomly
around
maneuver,
guys.
you'll see these fireballs arcing and trying to catch people.
There we go. And so, like, every single one of these characters has a slightly different texture.
Oh, look
Not
at that.
everyone.
Look at that sexy Santa hat. There's got some Bear Force 1 up in here.
And I think we actually, our texture resolution up close is actually clamped lower right now, not for testing, just work that's still to be done. So you're actually looking at most of these guys at a lower resolution. Than
Yeah, this
before.
is like there are choices of dyes and colors. It really is just and which clothes they are and are not wearing is a totally random number generator. You'll be able to pick better colors of dyes for your character. I promise.
This is the festive version.
Yeah, the server is literally generating a completely random color for each piece of gear.
Yeah, we
And-
just wanted to show you everyone looking unique.
Yeah, and the reason they're half naked is because they make a 50% chance roll on each piece of gear on whether or not to equip it. And so if they've only got one shirt, there's a 50% chance that you see some hot man chest. Arcane Cloister asked about weather, like rain. That's already in. It just hasn't happened to rain.
So we do have rain in, the sky will darken.
Right now it's
gray,
snow, but
and right now it's been switched
Storm
to
State's
snow,
turned off on us.
we have rain sound and everything like that. Right now, since we kind of threw this snow in real quick before hitting our break, we just kind of broke rain out.
Storm stayed out
Yeah.
entirely.
Yeah.
Darn.
Yeah, actually, we did a really rough pass of snow, and Mike did a great job with the VFX. We always nice little
yeah, I
particles
remembered
falling.
last night or this morning there was another build bar that I needed to do when I couldn't do it this morning.
Now we know.
Yeah, I'm doing it on a custom final build so that I can hack in show self and show UI. So anyways, so there's probably a couple of guys that managed to get lucky and get the same exact gear and color configuration as somebody else. So there's probably 520 unique characters, different textures, different geometry, all fighting in, like I said, a 300 meter probably area. And our FPS is great. Our server doesn't give two shits about what's happening right
It
now.
really blurs when you're
Arcane, armor will be dyeable, but I don't know all the details of that are going to be in the PJ thing.
Oh, that's a very robust system. I'm already.
Yeah,
We're already working on
I'll be
the
happy to
plans for
talk
that.
about the art level is every item that has like its basic, just its base shape, and then there's 2 tint masks on that. So you'll be able to apply dyes to each of the 3 separate areas. Then there's a decaling system in there too. So we haven't worked out the exact gameplay side, but being able to just say like, I want to, I am crafting this thing and I'm going to stamp this insignia onto it, Baker's Mark or whatever, because
Fundamentally,
it's built out of decals.
Yeah, fundamentally, the whole crafting system uses decals, or I'm sorry, putting the textures together for every character is basically a layering system. So that's already in place. We just need to kind of figure out design and everything else for. I want to stick my guilds.
I was trying to look. I think this guy here, you can see that he's got like a tan undershirt on with a pink shirt on top of it. So that's a thing we already support.
Come here, sir. I want to look at your clothes.
And one of the things we talked about a long time ago is we actually have layering for the armor you pick. So, like, he could have a chain shirt on all the way down his sleeve and then put a fan brace on top of it, and then take his chain shirt off and put a cloth shirt on, and then still have those fan braces represented.
Yeah, this guy's the same way. He's got that tan undershirt with whoa. There you go.
So one of the things, people really like the high grass, so we scaled up some grass that I never intended to be this big, so now it's giant grass.
Yeah, but we are, very able to react when people think something's cool. It's like, oh, let's put more of that in the game.
Yeah.
Or we can just say turn up the size and suddenly, you know, that happens.
Yeah, and like one of the things
seasons are changing again.
I did a little test on bushes, and I found that on a lower end card I could get 200 to 400 milliseconds extra drawing the scene by just editing bushes. Now I haven't actually done that yet, but if I was to go over to my computer and update one of these bushes, it would just suddenly pop in. We lost it forever.
Oh, the battle is getting really loud and they're having a hard time hearing us. Sound effects brought to you by DP.
Better, guys. Better.
Genesee, your sound is loud.
Genesee and sound seem to be natural enemies.
Yeah, pink camo. These Vikings are one with their environment.
So that's actually an interesting thing. He said, you know, with our long draw distance and stuff, you know, being able to spot someone's going to be important. So you can, you know, make a set of clothes and dye it so that it fits the forest.
So we'll probably be wrapping this segment up here in a little bit. We'll talk a little bit longer, but just to give you guys a head up, we're going to wrap up this segment. The stream will go down for a little bit while we transition over to JB, and then he's going to do some cool chaos and gameplay and fighting and killing stuff. So we'll be here a little bit longer, but when the stream goes down, we'll come back, I promise. We're just changing streamers.
Check the JB.
Andrew, is there anything else you can think of that you want to talk about in terms of, or even Mark, if you want to? Mark doesn't like being on camera, so in terms of, you know, this particular part is talking about how our client and server is going to support epic giant battles. Is he good to go?
No, I'm letting him know.
Okay. I think he's code reviewing. We can live stream code review.
He's going to give me the thumbs up when we should stop streaming, and he's ready to go. He's right now stretching his neck. Sleepy. He's a sleepy engineer.
Let me check my notes to make sure I've covered everything.
Unique bots, large battles. JB's gonna actually do some stuff where he sucks all the guys in. You'll see a lot of guys all at once.
It's terrible that I can't read my own handwriting. These notes are useless. Your death will be slow and painful.
Another beautiful scene of us changing back into spring. Sorry, I'm just a little obsessed with the change of seasons. This is part of why I'm in Virginia and not California. Just gotta follow this north.
Slow and painful.
I mean, Nerf gun's in the office. The person who you meant to hit isn't going to get any kind of apology, but if you actually hit someone else, I was aiming for Tyler.
It's like, oh, carry on then.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Is everything okay?
All right, so JB time.
Are you ready to rock, JB?
I'm ready to rock, JB.
Well, you knew you were going to be streaming after me, so you shouldn't have been writing code. You should have come sat on Andrew's lap on the couch.
Any couple of questions?
Yeah, while we're waiting on JB to get set up, if you guys have questions, go for it. You've got Tyler, Andrew, and Tim here, so we can say something witty, arty, or techie.
Apparently you're the witty one.
I like how there was a pause about who was who.
Yeah.
And it was like, Andrew's obvious, but...
There was a chance I was the arty one? Man, you guys are lucky my social filter's been critting today.
So that's a big forest.
Genesee, I only have one volume.
So one of the things Andrew may much farther down the road give me is a little bit of tinting to vary the trees.
Sooner than you think. Yeah, that
You heard it here.
yeah, that whole per model data stuff is specifically for that. I just
Yeah.
decided to do snow first.
Well, I
because
haven't
like
bothered.
Snow.
Is there any
Putting it
chance
in.
we can get some terrain draw further out than currently, like miles out mountains?
Yes.
Wrecked.
Yeah, I think we've just got it.
Yeah, someone turned it down. I had it turned up. I'll turn it back up.
I blame Tyler.
Yeah, I'm the one who was like, let's see less of the
We're not.
environment.
Yeah, we're not gonna have. Obviously, we're gonna be turning off trees and players at a certain distance, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, like, I stressed to Ben, I was like, I want to make mountains, like a mountain, that you have to traverse up and it takes you a long time. Because right now we can make a hill really easily.
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth. No, a mountain.
Yeah.
No, a mountain.
No, bigger than that.
Is the reason you're sticking around to stream because traffic on 66 is jacked up today? Yeah, because every other day it's great.
Yeah, you have to leave late.
No, I just go home by riding through the forest like a proper Viking.
on the back of a 13-foot tall goat
Once I get away from this stream,
with 6 legs.
we'll have an update later today, user stories, lots of cool images and stuff like that. A little holiday gift at the bottom of the update. It's minor, but
VR support on release. Current alpha focus. Graphics getting an overhaul before release.
There's not going to be I'm not going to say a total overhaul on graphics. There's a lot that on the shiny lighting that I want to get done. But you'll still see the same basic tree. But again, our focus is ultimately
performance.
how many players can we draw in a game that runs and plays great. Graphics sell boxes, quality gameplay maintains subs, so that's and I've said from the start that we'll do the best graphics we can without compromising the goal of being able to have a lot of people playing with a lot of other people.
Yeah, and if I had made, the really super shiny pine tree, you'd have a forest maybe at 1/6 as dense as what I put in there, if not less.
Can you make the periodic shadow transition smoother? Is that something we can revisit once some of the Z-fighting stuff goes away?
We can revisit it. There's definitely work that can be done.
That's what they're talking
Yeah,
about.
I assume that's what you're talking about, where
Yeah.
we move it a little bit. Right now it's just kind of locked at a setting, and we can make it good. We can make it better, but I didn't want to turn that knob all the way to the right on the graphics setting. But yes, there is stuff that we can do to make it better.
Yeah, for the next several months, we're going to be focused on game and not pretty tree.
Captain Shack, definitely the plus side of things. He asked if 400 plus is our goal. Definitely on the plus.
That should be, I don't expect the goal is 1,000 plus. We're not promising that right now, but it's certainly the goal. Now, that's not something that I expect you're necessarily going to see every single time.
We've got a really, really big world.
You shouldn't be in a 1,000-man Zerg every night, but when there's a major fortress being taken, that's going to be the Helm's Deep moments, and I want this to be a game where those moments can happen, and they will happen, but at the same time, they won't be an every night kind of thing.
Yeah, like we were talking about, Mark mentioned that, he had the server running 3,000 guys the other day, and I was like, if we can get 3 realm leaders that can each wrangle 1,000 people to follow them to the same place at the same time, all 3 of those guys should run for president.
I was going to say they should run for office.
We'll support that, but the likelihood of it happening is fairly slim and really up to you guys. So, get bloodthirsty.
But the other thing is if we can support all of that, when we start adding in other cool things, if there's a Veil Storm in the middle of a 500-player battle, it will run.
Yeah. I mean, I've said all along, going back to 2012, the one thing I want to create in a game is I want to create the moment in Helm's Deep when the wall explodes and all the physics objects go all of this physics happens at once with all of these people watching it on both sides, and it all comes down, and where it lands and where you're standing matters, and that's kind of the top level technical goal. Hey, it's winter,
And that's
sorry.
this is one of the things that we do all server side physics. So one of the things Andrew did a vid a long time ago, basically showcasing trying to cheat. Passing through people, sitting behind walls, and things like that. And he was able to show that on the client he could make it look like he was cheating, but on the server was like, nope, I know exactly where you guys are.
The infamous Big Blue Beef video.
The Blue Beef video. Blue Beef is in reference to our frost giants, who used to be a little bit bluer than usual.
Are you ready, JB?
All right, we're gonna.
Look, don't be all like, yeah, I'm ready. We've been waiting on you to tell us.
Okay. All
All
right.
right, so stream's going to go down briefly, and then you don't have to quit out of the game to close the stream.
yeah. All right. All JB all the time.
So there's going to be a brief interruption in the stream, and then JB's going to take it over. So thanks for joining us for the... Huh? What? Yeah. So, thanks for joining us for the forest biome and large battle segment, and he's going to be doing some actual gameplay, chaos fighting, and killing. So if you guys are around, hop on Wormling. I think it's open for beta 1s, and play Find and Kill the JB.